Brothers, it was last April that we had a meeting at Al Falah when we were discussing Kashmir. And I told you then that I'd applied to the Indian government for a visa to go to Kashmir. And I remember that everyone, including me, did not think that they would give me a visa. And I remember that I got the visa on a Friday, and I was on a plane to Islamabad on the Sunday. And I'd like to thank Azmat Khan for all the trouble that he went to help me while I was in Azad Kashmir, and for all the help that he gave me to cross the border into India, to go first to Punjab and then to Indian Kashmir. And I was only there for a very short time, but I was deeply shocked at everything that I saw while I was in that lovely country. And the thing that affected me most were the people, the men, the women and the children, who were clearly facing very great danger, very great persecution, very great repression, with great courage, with great fortitude, and day in and day out they faced those soldiers, those tens of thousands of Indian security forces with their machine guns on every street corner, the sandbags on every roof. Day in and day out they faced them. The women who led demonstrations against the house searches which take place every day. The young people who were no longer able to go to school because all the schools and colleges have been closed. And all the people that had to spend day after day in their homes because of curfew, which whilst I was there was permanent. For 3 and 4 weeks, no one was allowed outside their home. No one could be buried, no one could go out for food, no one could go out for water, no one could go out at all. And if they did, they stood the chance of being shot, as indeed a woman of 67 was shot the day that I was in Srinagar. And I've been reading a report which has just been published by 2 doctors who visited Indian Kashmir in January of this year. The 2 doctors are Dr. Christopher Burns Cox of Bristol and a Dr. Peter Candela of Ashford in Middlesex. And this report chronicles what they saw, what they were told, and information that they were given, particularly about the way in which people are being treated when they're in urgent need of medical care. And the report says, in the view of the delegation, the most reliable source of numbers of dead and wounded was given by the Jammu and Kashmir High Court Bar Association in Srinagar. Since the trouble started, the association has been documenting such cases, and they were able to provide figures for the period the 21st of January to the 30th of July 1990, when the troubles were at their height. These figures included details of names, ages, parentage, locality, and circumstances surrounding the dead. They listed 962 civilians, 962 in a period of 6 months. killed by the alleged actions of the security forces. The Jammu and Kashmir Bar Association also provided details of 546 people who had allegedly been injured by the security forces, but they acknowledged that they had no means to. The Indian rulers must understand that what is sweeping the world today is a desire by all people to breathe the air of freedom.
Yes, yes.
That whether you're in Kashmir, or in Palestine, or in Lebanon, or South Africa, or Iraq, what people want is the simple opportunity to be able to decide their own future, to elect their own governments and decide their own future and the future destiny of their country. What people want of all those countries, in Lithuania, in Latvia, in Estonia, the Russian leaders are having to come to terms with those aspirations. And if the Russians are coming to terms and are being forced to come to terms, so too must the rulers of India.
Yes.
They must be made to understand that the people of Kashmir are going to get determination, however long that may take. They must also understand that the people of Kashmir want equality before the law, that everyone, however humble or however powerful, every person should be equal before the law in any civilized democracy. And yes, too, there has to be respect for human rights. The things that are described in this book should never happen in any civilized democracy. And therefore, at this meeting, we are saying again that the people of Kashmir will never rest until they get self-determination, respect for the rule of law, and respect for human rights, their human rights. And I say to you, there are a number of things that need to be done. Yes, we need to send more relief material and money to both Azad Kashmir and to Kashmir Valley. Yes, we have to tell not only the people of this country but the people of the world what is happening. And I shall be sending a copy of this report to the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary and the leader of the Labour Party to tell them what is happening. And this is an independent report written by two doctors who spent a week in Kashmir. And I shall take it when I get a meeting with the Foreign Secretary that I've been asking for weeks. I'm hoping to go to India again later this year. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association are having a conference in India. I've applied to go as a member of the British delegation. And if I am chosen to go, I shall be applying to the Indian government for a visa to go to Indian Kashmir again on your behalf to see what is happening in Indian Kashmir. And meantime, we are also setting up a new committee of the Parliamentary Human Rights Committee, which will concentrate on Kashmir. We will be preparing a submission to the United Nations Human Rights Commission in Geneva in August. We're seeking to be able to send representatives to present oral evidence to that committee. But we will be sending written evidence in the hope that we will be able to persuade that United Nations Human Rights Committee that what is happening in